fucking, this is the last show of the month. Are we doing fucking, why can't I come up with the name of our segment?
The show you can't remember the name of?
The fucking thing, our segment.
I'm not helping you.
God damn it, Nick. It's your segment.
Do it. Remember it.
Friends who don't let friends watch anime. That's it, right? Episode 386 of the TV Dudes, recorded May 25th, 2022. Done and Undone. This week, we're talking about getting it done, and then undone. There's the push-pull of making The Godfather on the offer on Paramount+. Then there's the use of time travel to deal with family trauma on the second season of Undone on Prime. And of course, it's the last week of the month, and that means Stranger Than Fanfiction time. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
Oh man, we have to have this conversation again. I'm Nick.
It's not a conversation, it's an introduction, Nick.
I know, but I've already done this like 3 times. Fucking timeline.
Every show is someone's first in the multiverse, Nick.
They've merged together. You're getting the memories of all the other ones.
And we're the TV Dudes. Kyle is not with us this week, but he will be here next week for the special all Kyle and Nick show. Because
see, that's just a person Randy remembers from a timeline he was in. But we put up with it every week with this Kyle person that Randy remembers.
No, Kyle is real, guys. I keep telling you that he's real.
No, I've seen next week and all the math we're going to do with the power rankings. It's a fucking blast. Love you, Kyle.
Kyle's not here this week, but Les will be out of town, and I will be at the ATX Television Festival. So if you are listening to this podcast, and if you're a fan, come say hi. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a fan, first of all, I don't know what you're doing here. Second of all, don't come up and tell me how much I hate the show. I'm so tired of it. I hear enough from Les every week.
Do go up and tell Randy how much you love anime.
Just come up and give me some very unconstructive feedback.
And on that note, let's jump over and do our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Nick, you want to kick us off this week?
Oh shit, I don't think I updated mine. Okay, off of memory.
What crazy movie did you watch? Start with that.
Oh, Les, what did we watch this week?
Oh,
right,
man.
We watched a fucking banger this week.
Oh, I bet
we watched fucking Chaws.
Chaws. I'm sure
sorry,
we're
what?
mispronouncing that. It is a South Korean giant boar movie.
Sure.
So that's CHAWZ. Chaws.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Came from a dude in South Korea who was like, you know what we don't have in South Korea? Really weird bee monster movies.
He's like, he wanted to make Anaconda. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Why?
And
why? Why would you want to?
And I'll tell you what, he nailed it. Mission
Yes.
accomplished.
Yes. It may be one of my favorite final shots in any film ever.
Holy fuck. The final shot of this is so unbelievably good. Just the idea of an evil baby calf.
Like baby pig. Yeah, this little baby pig. Who they've been... there's this whole... Yeah, you're spending the whole movie going, man, if this were Kill Bill, that little kid would, grow up to hunt down Uma Thurman later. And it ends with the little pig winking at the or scowling at the camera. Oh, it's so fucking great.
I'll tell you what, I may have killed your mom and baked her up and eaten her for breakfast. But if you still feel sore about it, come find me when you're older.
Exactly. They just do that scene with a pig. It's awesome.
Not only do they do that scene, they do like 3 other scenes from a bunch of other movies. Like, they rip off the scene from Jaws where Richard Dreyfuss cuts open the shark to figure out if it's the same one that's killing people. They have the same fake out in here. They have another giant boar, and they cut it open. I was like, okay, if they find a fucking license plate in here, I know they want to. They should really just do it.
It just kept happening where Nick and I were like, this is so close to another movie that they have to know they're pulling from it. I can't, like, why not just go the other 5% and have him pull a license
But
plate?
also, it is definitely Korean, because every once in a while, a grandmother will just be dancing in the background, just insane. And there's a strange woman, who's like basically kidnapped a child, I think, only to come in at the last minute to kidnap one of the hunters to make him call her mommy.
And a post-credit scene. It's really, it's awesome.
And also, a dog just talks to a dude, like out
That's
of nowhere.
right, man, I forgot about the dog.
Well, it's hard to tell because everything is some subtitles. So you're like, oh, is someone else? No, that dog is talking in Korean.
Yeah, it's an acid drop moment. Only nobody's on drugs except the movie.
You know, when I started this segment, it was meant to be a recounting of all the TV we talk about that we don't necessarily talk about every week, that we talk about which shows we're watching. And somehow, fucking Nick has transformed this into another Stranger Than fan fiction, except it's about weird D-missed movies that you guys watch.
We should really get Randy for a watch party for Big Bad Bugs.
That's not going to happen. You've already got me watching 8 goddamn Nicolas Cage movies.
Maybe he'll never forgive us for that.
No, never ever.
No?
No. No.
Not even Damn Sharks?
No, Avalanche Sharks are damn, like, yeah, that would, but Big Bad Bugs, I think he'll never forgive us.
What I'm saying is, slowly but surely, Nick is going to turn this show into a podcast about anime and weird-ass movies, and we're not even
told
going to
you
notice.
Shouldn't have hired another less if you didn't
It's going to happen. It's going to happen so slowly we won't even notice.
All we've done is fed off of one another. Like, we have not canceled each other out in any way. We have fed on one another and met like a hurricane meeting a tornado.
It's constructive interference.
Wait, a hurricane meeting a tornado. That's one of the shows. That's one of the movies you've watched, isn't it?
Yes.
It is.
It's like a tsunami of grizzly bears. It's like a griznami.
Tornado. It's not as good as Griznami. But you know, it's okay.
I'm just planting a flag here, so that in a few months, when people are looking at the podcast and be like, "When did it all become about?
When did it
British
happen?
Game shows and anime and
the tipping point was here.
Yeah, this was it. This is when I saw it coming and I failed to stop it.
When good dudes do nothing, Sci-Fi Channel wins. What the fuck were we even talking about?
We were talking about what you were watching.
I finished off the second season of Z Nation.
Oh yeah, never
or
heard
no,
of that.
Black Summer. I'm sorry. It's just
Black
the
Summer's
spin-off
the
of Z
prequel,
Nation,
right? Yeah.
Which are two like could not be more tonally different shows. Black Summer is very depressing, and shot completely different. A lot of oneers in it. It's kind of like if you said like. If you watched Walking Dead and then someone told you Zombieland was also in that universe, it'd be like it'd be hard to like figure out where those two meet. Like what? Like it's like, why are you guys so down? Woody Harrelson's in somewhere having a blast. I kept up on Young Justice, where guess what, Randy? I think we're like 12 episodes in. They got the Phantoms team together.
Isn't that the subtitle of the damn season?
They finally got everyone from the show's thumbnail, in the credit sequence.
Yeah.
Everyone's finally there to figure out where Superboy is. And you know where he is? In the fucking Phantom Zone. Oh, that's what we meant by fuck you.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
No, I gotta tell you, like, the New Gods one was strangely one of the better episodes, which is something I never thought I'd say about New Gods. But, like I was telling Les before, that something on the writing in this season feels weird. I don't know if they've gotten gun shy, or, I don't know, Randy, if you could, catch up on it and, tell me if I'm being oversensitive here, but I think they're being oversensitive as to how depicting certain mental illnesses or gender norms or whatever. Every conversation feels so engineered to be the perfect conversation to not offend anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone in a circle group like that Black Canary has the perfect conversation. All these teenagers respect each other completely and don't and each other's boundaries and everything. And I was like, okay, so that's the most unrealistic group of teenagers I've ever seen. Although there's something there with Beast Boy having an emotional support animal. I feel like that's something. I don't know what, but that's something.
It's weird is what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that confusing for the dog when he turns into a dog? Like, what is the...
Is the dog like, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
Like, wait, are you my emotional support human now? What are our roles reversed? Are you expecting me to turn into a human? Because I can't do that. But, yeah, otherwise, they have an interesting take on Zod and on the Kryptonians stuck in the Phantom Zone. That's kind of neat. And of course, the Legion are finally in the fucking story, which was a weird thing to promise at the end of last season to only barely deliver on for the first half of this season. I watched the Chip and Dale movie, which made me watch a Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers episode. Which made me remember, which I was like, oh, I wonder why they got the same voices for a couple of the other people, but they got different voices for Chip and Dale. And then I went and watched a Rescue Rangers episode. I'm like, oh yeah, because an audience would rip their fucking ears out if they had to listen to an hour and a half of that. I forgot how unbelievably annoying that Alvin and the Chipmunks sped up thing is.
Yeah, it definitely is better for kids. I remember how much adults hated it as a child, and I didn't get it. Now I get it.
I watched Love, Death, and Robots season 3, which is much better than season 2. Still not
I've
still
been
pretty hit and
hearing
miss.
that. I sort of didn't even put it on the schedule because I think we've all disliked most of what we watched.
The first one, I was like, wow, this is a really good Eldritch pirate story, with an Eldritch horror twist to it, which was pretty neat. You know, normally they're more sci-fi, but that was kind of an old-timey whaler ship like that gets infested by an eldritch god crab thing.
Where are the robots in this?
Oh, the robots are in are they in the first episode or the second one? But they're in they are on tour. There's the same 3 robots from the first season having a second short. They go to a survivalist compound and it's like, oh yeah, how long did these guys last? About 2 weeks. These idiots were actually looking forward to the apocalypse, if you can believe that. But yeah, also there's a good episode about a genetically altered or cybernetic were-grizzly or grizzly bear that is whose handler is a CIA agent being played by Joel McHale, which is like, yes. What else did I watch? I watched a little bit of Oats Studios, because I was like, that kind of reminded me of Love and Dewey Watts, which was Neil Blomkamp's short collection on Netflix. Which is really boring. But there is one in there that's pretty neat, which is, I forget what the name of it is, but it includes a horror monster that is like an amalgamation of all these people in a mining colony. So it's got like 1,000,000 hands and like all the eyes conserve into one thing so it can look forward. It like accesses different security things by just keeps putting dead people's hands that it's assimilated onto the scanner until it gets one where it's activated. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool sci-fi stuff. But yeah, that was pretty much it for this week.
All right, Les, what about you?
Yeah, I got a screener for a documentary about a band that I've loved since high school, Dinosaur Jr. It's called Freak Scene. It's made by the lead singer, Jay Mascis's brother-in-law, who's a documentary filmmaker, and so this just makes total sense that, of course, he would do this. So it's got a lot of interviews with people from the Pixies and Sonic Youth and all bands of the 80s, 90s sub pop grunge era, and it was really great. I don't know that it'll win people over. They don't have like the craziest story or anything. They do have some fun behind the music, internal strife, and a huge fucking fist fight on stage that's on video, which is a classic part of, like, they're a band split that's a huge part of nerd rock lore. But as a fan of the band, it's absolutely great. It's coming out, I believe, June 3rd on digital. If you've ever heard of or liked Dinosaur Jr., Freak Scene, a really good doc. Also watched 30 Rock episodes. Orange is the New Black, which Fanny and Lisa are both independently going back through. So I'm in 2 different seasons of Orange is the New Black, weirdly, which is fine. It's kind of, I'm just wrapping it into Undone. It's all happening at once. I also watched, after Freak Scene, I watched a bunch of behind the music episodes of Motley Crue, Pantera, GNR. These are semi-legit on YouTube, because behind the music somehow not streaming bulk anywhere.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, weird. I watched an episode of Mask, the cartoon,
Why?
because I wanted G.I. Joe, but not.
Mm.
And this got that done.
I really appreciate you taking the time out of your mask marathon to watch Jaws with me. What a great weekend we had.
We really did. I was watching Mask and I stopped to watch Jaws. Goldbergs, which continues. Murray Watch is amazing. This week on the Goldbergs, I think was the season finale, and it was Adam, like the main character's high school graduation, which the whole show has obsessively been building toward, and there's no way like Murray can't be there. Like that's got to be the plot of the episode if he's not there. So it wasn't as bad as the wedding episode where I am certain that they CG'd Jeff Garland's face onto a stuntman's body. I swear to God. Like I swear that's they actually did that. I'm not being facetious. So they didn't do that. There's like two scenes that you can tell are shot independent, like same day. There's extras around in the same costumes, but shot independently of everything else. Like a character's fighting their way through a crowd, and then when they're standing there hugging Jeff Garland, they're clearly like at their seat hemmed in. You know, like y'all shot all of Garland's scenes and then he left.
I just love that CGI. Like, Dad, why is your head floating?
Right? And it still only happens twice. There are two scenes with the mom, Wendy Covey, whatever. I can't remember the actress' name. There's two scenes with just her. And it's still like a side hug kind of thing. And that's it. Everything else is like over his shoulder, a human shaped Jeff Garland-ish. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And they're renewed for another season. So this party continues. He is not fired. Just so we're clear. They've parted ways somehow. I think he just isn't going to work, or I don't know. It's really weird. Can't wait to see how the fuck this keeps going. It's awesome. At this point, if they killed him off, it would be less weird. Also been watching, I've finished out Made for Love, which, wow. I don't know that I need a season 3. I don't know if they're going to get one or not. Like, if the show ends right there, it's perfect for me.
Man, if I'm not caught up, does he fuck that dolphin? Ooh, that's an interesting pause. That
I'm
is
also
telling.
I'm also not caught up. I need to catch up on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil that.
Yep.
That pause is not only pregnant, is in its third trimester.
Watched Dazed and Confused, watched Almost Famous, of course, watched Jaws, the greatest South Korean wild boar movie that you'll ever see.
You can't know that. You can't know that.
I feel confident making that assertion. I'm not saying it's the best wild boar movie that will ever be made, but I think it's
don't
the best
think there's
one
a lot
South
of
Korea.
hubris in that.
Yeah, I think it's the best one South Korea is going to do in the next 10 years.
Best one ever until we make our movie Death Hogs.
Right, until Death Hog.
Or Death Hogs 4, the time travel one, Fat Back to the Future.
Yes.
Are you guys making Death Hogs in South Korea? Are you getting some credits, some film credits?
No, that's an alternate swine line.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Death Hog coming soon to a near you. Dazed and Confused, Almost Famous. Like a Rolling Stone, The Life and Times of Ben Fong Torres, who is featured briefly in Almost Famous. It's on Netflix. Another good documentary. Episodes of the new season of iCarly. To balance out that sacchariness, I watched episodes of Always Sunny.
Wow.
That is a harsh transition.
God, the one where they review the screener of Thunder Gun is fucking amazing.
Oh, man.
They break that moderator. It's
Yes.
awesome. I think about the
so
seventh time that Charlie goes, wait, he has a son? And she just snaps and is like, fuck, what? What?
Oh,
and then
man.
Flash.
Oh, yeah, of course. All right.
So, Randy, what did you watch?
My viewing seems really normal compared to the two of you. I watched another episode of Seinfeld. Megan and I started going through The Good Place again. The Good Place is like Ted Lasso. The Good Place is not as medicinal as I would like it to be, but Jesus Christ, sometimes it is the only thing keeping me from thinking that we should just set fire to the whole multiverse. Girls 5 Eva, caught up on that. Kept up with Hacks, 2 episodes of Hacks, which I'm really digging this season. It is so fucking dark, but also sweet, and that show's so good. And then 2 episodes of Barry, which, Jesus Christ, that show is dark. Like, it just gets darker and darker as it goes along. and I feel like I'm gonna end it. It's gonna be like worse than Breaking Bad.
I like HBO's brand of comedy now. Is this show
Yeah.
is hopefully funny enough you won't want to kill yourself by the end of it.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, or at least like you won't kill yourself until after you finish watching it. That's what they're banking on.
That's what their business model depends on it.
Yeah. 2 episodes last week tonight. Speaking of killing you, being so depressed watching a show you kill yourself.
Dude, there's a Subway episode this week was awesome.
Oh, it was fantastic. That's my through line of all the shit I'm watching on HBO. On everything, it's like, oh, depressing shit. Maybe that's what's causing the problem. I watched the final episode of Atlanta for season 3. I believe 10 episodes, which is a Zazie Beetz focus episode, and is great and weird. And she's like living in France, pretending to be Amelie, and her friend catches up to her and is like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" And Alexander Skarsgård's in it as himself. People eat fried human hands. It's fucking weird, guys. It's fucking weird.
See, now that's on a Chaw's level.
Yeah, maybe so.
Alexander Skarsgård wasn't in our movie.
I got a little hope in the form of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which was a great 3rd episode.
Yes, I did watch that. I left that off my list. But yeah, the Illyria.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, super good. I watched the finale of Halo, which I know that's controversial. I know some people just absolutely hate it. I know that the fans were kind of up in arms. I actually thought it was a really good season of sci-fi TV. I really liked Halo season 1. I thought the ending was really good. It is a weird decision that they waited until the final episode to give people all the fan service they wanted, but we got all the guys picking up using alien weapons and first-person shots and all the stuff they should have been doing from the very outset. But it was really, really good, and I enjoyed it. Great finale. And then beyond that, just the homework.
Can I admit something to you, Randy?
Yes.
I also kind of liked it. I caught back up.
Right? It's good.
Well, I mean, I still have grievances with certain aspects of it. Like, I could not give a shit less about all that magical stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The magical stuff, its heart was in the right place, but man, I didn't care about any of it.
Yeah, I hope like that is a minimal in the next season if at all shows up. But I love the idea that there's a scientist that makes an AI to take over a person, but the scientist is so evil, the AI is like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
It's kind of like if you were the evil scientist and Skynet just said to you, whoa, hang on, you sounding a little crazy, bud.
You gotta chill out a bit, man. We were gonna kill all the humans, but let's chill. Let's take it down a notch.
It's not like you gotta take it down.
Yeah.
And that's like, so the whole Cortana thing I thought was a really good episode for that.
I agree. I liked all that. All right, that's TV Diary. It is time for our regular segment, Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
All right. I do not remember who is supposed to go, so Randy, you're going to be choosing a random letter.
Okay.
From V and Y.
I like Y. I'm going to go with Y.
Oh, you never ask why. But just because you did. So this show, guys, is a competitive game show. Think Family Feud, only the versus teams are things that you wouldn't normally see on a Family Feud thing. Like the first episode, which is, let me see if I got this right. Yes, it's cartoon voice actors versus meat packing workers. And they participate in a certain set of physical challenges, not unlike Wipeout or any shows like that, only they're far fucking weirder. And let's see, which one did they do first? Ah, yes, it was jumping on styrofoam alligators across a mud pit in order to try and get the other side. There was crossing a very, a foot small drawbridge, like kids kind of do, only with people with kickballs. They're not throwing them at them. They have preloaded cannons that are shooting them at them to try and knock them off into a not insignificant height to drop them. Ooh, and my favorite, a human pachinko machine, where they put people in like those hamster balls, only instead of the soft ones, they're hard plastic, and then they send them down a giant, what do you call it? The pachinko machine, just the balls, with all the little pogs
Sure.
and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then they're
Plinko.
yeah, and their challenge, I guess, is to end up in the right slot. Although careening down a hill, banging against things in a ball, I feel like I don't know how you control any of that.
Like a competitive Princess Bride hill
Yes.
roll.
Well, the balls they're in don't give them enough room to stand up and run like hamsters. You have to stay in there and fall down and roll with the ball. So your entire body is spinning. So I don't know how they aim or if this is just a thing they do to torture the participants, and it's really just for the amusement of the audience, which I'm pretty sure is, now that I'm saying it out loud, is the last part.
I'm just wondering how many of the balls make it to the bottom of the hill just opaque with child vomit.
Yeah. Oh, although one of my favorite ones is that they have a door knock going through contest where they have like 3 different walls, all with doors on them. Some of them are real doors, but some of them are cardboard doors. So some of them you can run and charge right through and win this race, but some of them are solid. So they just shoot the gun, and everyone, like there's about 30 people, there's about 5 doors, so everyone starts to run through and tries to take it as fast as they can. So in order to try and beat other people, you have to like decide whether or not you're going to run headlong into this door that may be a solid foot wood door that you're going to break your fucking neck on. And some people, they take their bet, they take their chances, they roll the dice on it, and it does not work out for them. I don't know what the safety things are in this show are, but I'm pretty sure someone's definitely died on the show. There's too many people, too many variables. I definitely watched someone die and they cut away from it. I'm not sure which one of them. I'm not sure which one of them did, but it definitely happened. And that's not even getting into the hosts of the show, which are, let me think if I can get this right, Ken Bernenshaw and Vic. Vic and Ken are the ones narrating this, and their narrations vary from just simply awkward to outright insane. Oh man, he's got to squeeze into there, Ken. Like that. Maybe you can use that lotion you keep next to your computer. Oh yeah, that's nothing worse than a chapped mouse, Ken. I don't know what that means. It's a thing they said on the show, though. All right, let's go to our correspondent with the teams, Guy LaDouche. And that's this guy's name is Guy, last name LaDouche. He's talking with the group that are heroin addicts versus starving artists. He's like, okay, who here thinks drug addiction is a disease? Okay, well, you're all wrong and stupid and weak. Yeah, and you're all worthless. And see, one contestant, they're like, okay, and this guy, he's actually hoping to get earn enough money for a transplant for a Himalayan monk so he can get some new lungs. Otherwise, he's back on the ventilator in spring. Yeah, student loans are no joke, Ken. Yeah, the reward they give for the junkies, or that they call them, like the heroin addicts at the end of their thing, is like, yes, and the winner will receive a kilo of powdered milk because they're junkies, they can't tell the difference.
Oh.
Les,
that's a deep cut. That's a deep, dirty cut.
I just thought you just clued into it. Like, oh wait, I've seen this.
No, that was just a way deeper cut drug pun than I fucking expected. Ouch.
They let's like that's for the drug users in the crowd in the TV Dudes audience. My favorite challenge was they mix up some wet cement and just have people run through and see if they can get through. To be fair,
okay, that's hilarious.
To
be fair,
we see people get stuck. We do not see those people come out. They cut to the next thing, and they even say, I think Vic's like, yeah, and let's get a moment of silence for all the people who didn't make it out of that last race. They are now part of the parking lot. Let me see if I can find, because just the versus things, like not even just what happens, but the people that they get to verse each other on this are hilarious. Oh yeah, they have one with dairy workers versus automobile workers. And that one, I think they had a milk challenge of some kind. Cops versus cons. That one was fun. Circus versus airlines. Fashion designers versus religious figures. Adult entertainment versus home improvement.
What is even happening anymore?
Yes, and this is a great show, all in English. If you can believe that.
But we're not going to let me unleash dogs at people's front doors for trivia.
Look, I watched less, and I was gonna write you if they did do Running from Dobermans, because I know that you.
I was like, seriously, if yeah, bulldogs or Benjamins or pit bulls, either one is mine.
No, they never got live dogs involved in it. Like, they only got fake animals if there were ever animals. Oh, I shouldn't say that. There was one where they're having a tug of war, but you can't see who you're challenging on the other end of the tug of war. So sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's 10 people, sometimes it's a fucking tractor, sometimes it's a bull, and people just get pulled right into the wood and get fucking smashed on there. So really, it's not a challenge of how good you can pull, rather than you gotta pick the one that only has one person on it. Otherwise, you just don't have a chance. The game is cruel, humiliating for all involved, and absolutely a blast to watch. Great television. So guys, is this simply my next pitch since I've stolen Les's idea for Bulldogs or Benjamins? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
Les, you go first.
So at first I thought you were talking about that medieval show on
Quest?
Netflix. Yeah, The Quest. But this sounds so much more interesting. I'm gonna wish upon my heart and and say that this is real, because I want to, be the chaos I want to see in the world, I guess.
I don't want to watch this, but I do believe it to be real.
Well, guys, Les, prepare to put in that search engine, because this is indeed real. It is called...
What is it?
It's MXC, Most Extreme Challenge. It is actually on Amazon Prime, and it's an older show. I think it was on Spike TV. It is actually
I remember this. This was on Spike TV.
Yes,
yeah.
They took an old Japanese show, which I think was like some sort of House of Challengers or whatever, took all the footage and then overdubbed it with all these other people.
Yes, they use actual footage from Takashi's Castle, which
Mhm.
tested contestants' pain thresholds. Jesus God.
Takashi's Castle, that's what it was.
I swear, I thought you were going to say that they translated it from Japanese into English and back into Japanese and then back into English.
Nope, they simply have a bunch of dudes do just sub in the voices for the contestants, just everybody, and make up their own. I don't think they even have like a Japanese script of what these actual people said. I think they just made it up sight unseen.
No, it's got a real Kung Pao way of the fist vibe.
Yeah, very much so. High recommend. It's a good time.
So yeah, the main characters are Vic Romano, Kenny Blankenship, Captain Tennille. Okay, that's good.
Yes, Captain
and
Tennille.
Guy LaDouche. You also got Chief Auto Parts, Baba Ganoush, the Brown Spider, the Zygote Brothers, the Diddler,
Ooh,
Skanky,
I remember the Brown Spider.
Danny
He's a good challenge
Glanz.
guy.
Wow.
Y'all, the amount of stuff I learned that I don't want to on this show is incredibly high.
Oh, wow. Wipeout actually got sued by this show and Takashi's Castle.
It's very similar. It's not unsimilar.
What are these people running from? They're not. They're running to the world's toughest game show in town. Today's competition will pit America's stoic butcher industry workers against wacky cartoon voiceover artists. Get fired up for Most Extreme Elimination Challenge! And now, here's Kenny Blankenship and Vic Romano!
All right, well, this seems like a good place to remind you. You can throw us a buck an episode by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services and keep with our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we pause our cage match at the halfway point, partly because I begged for mercy, to talk about Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers over on Disney+. We also have our $20 show level, so if there are shows you want us to throw in the rotation, you can buy into that level. Give us a couple of ideas. We have some coming. We probably should have done one this week, but we didn't realize we're going to be down to just 2 shows, and we didn't have time. There's so much TV,
Yes.
y'all. There's so much TV.
Our own most extreme challenge.
So let's talk about The Offer over on Paramount, which this is a show that I wasn't going to watch because I wasn't sure I was interested in a making of the Godfather show, and then Les talked it up a little bit, and I think the review's been mixed, but I really loved this.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any of the reviews. I enjoyed this.
It's funny how in the show where the casting of it is such a big deal of it, and how big a deal they make of casting, this show itself's casting is basically why it works. Like, don't get me wrong, everything else is like the dialogue and the writing in the show itself is fine, but the casting of it is so fucking good across the board. Whoever thought of what's his name as Francis Ford Coppola?
Dan Fogler is.
Dan Fogler is fucking amazing in this.
Wow.
When you first read it in the list, I was like, no, that makes no sense. It's going to be so. And then he shows up and is so sincere about it. And like, he and Puzo are hilarious.
Yeah, though the two that I would have watched that whole buddy comedy,
dude.
Oh,
without the rest of it.
Watch their movie. Like, I loved that they didn't, like, there wasn't a whole like, oh, these two writers are gonna fight the entire. No, they love each other.
Yeah, and Puzo's constantly, like, the last thing his wife says is like, and he's diabetic, so you got to watch, and like literally Puzo's got a sandwich or something in his hand, or he either is eating or just ate something the whole show.
Teller calls him one point, "What are you eating?" Nothing.
I also love they cast a bunch of people who I haven't liked in a lot of stuff, and they're all great here. Matthew Good, I've always found that guy boring. He is Eric Bana level boring to me. He is fucking fantastic as Robert Evans.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
who
he's amazing.
I thought it was like, why do I think that guy's Eric Bana?
It's
But he's not.
Ozymandias.
Yeah, but I mean that makes sense. Robert Evans is a larger than life character. If you can get into it, it's a meaty role.
I like that he went all full method and actually blocked one of his nostrils with cocaine to get that voice down.
Right?
We got to see here. The magic movie making.
Juno Temple's weird American accent, Betty, I love her too. Like,
Yeah, I like her running away from home.
As an insane
coming to
assistant,
Hollywood.
who's the first thing she does is fire the old assistant and hire
oh, I
her.
That
love
was
that.
awesome.
Yes, that was so good. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that
sorry,
was
the
great.
position's already been filled, and I'm like, what a baller move.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I actually feel a little bad for Colin Hanks here because he gets nothing to do.
No, he does it
And
great,
he's-
but he
he's
has to play
always good.
such a fucking villain in it. He's
Yeah,
such a schmuck.
He's such a stick in the mud that he's got to be.
Yeah.
Because he's the go-between between the other guy, the other CEO, who's also straight up fucking insane.
This is finally the holy fuck, I knew that dude would be fire on screen someday role for Bern Gorman, who was previously the weird dude in Pacific Rim that wasn't Charlie.
I've always loved that guy, and I've seen him. He's in Halo too. He plays the evil guy, and I always loved when he's in The Expanse. But yeah, this is the first time I learned his name.
This gives him such a moment to shine. Like, yeah. World beatbox champion Bern Gorman.
I love that he's basically presented as like this rich creep running things, and you assume that he's going to basically harass Betty, and instead they develop this weird friendship. I didn't see that coming. I did.
He's
not
just
see that
insane.
coming at all.
Kind of friends. It's weird. Like, I keep waiting for it to turn sinister. I think he actually just kind of likes her.
He just kind of likes her. Yeah.
There's you can tell that there's a jousting back and forth that has always been part of his life, that you've finally reached a level where no one will fucking spar with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, no one will take jabs. Yeah, I guess that is.
But you didn't. But you didn't get here by not fighting. So like, you want to poke at everybody, and then they won't poke back because you're you.
and also, she is fearless.
Yes.
Like, and that's the thing. That's what she needs. And so
I think we have our casting. If we ever need a live action cast of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Yes. But the moment across the table from him, where he makes just some minor move or says something, and she goes, "You're selling Paramount."
Yeah.
Like she's so good.
Yep.
Everybody in it's great. Giovanni Ribisi is the actual
I was
mom.
gonna say, man, his Joe Colombo.
Wow.
I love Giovanni Ribisi. This is so different than I've ever seen him look.
Do I feel like he was like, "Hey, we wanted to cast you as a muff. Finally, I've been waiting."
Yeah. Yes.
For someone to ask me to do this my entire career.
It does. It has that feel. Yes.
The scene where they show him the script And it, like the whole middle act of it is just filler paper. And like of course he's sitting there in a suit.
I don't got my glasses.
With like these two goons behind him in leather suits. And like standing there in your office going, there's no mob. I need you to understand that there's no such thing as this. And like,
right.
Okay.
There's no such thing as what you see right now.
But the whole passing the script around of like, I don't have my glasses. I don't read
also
fast.
the back and forth, like he doesn't have to like, what if I told you that we took the word mafia out of the script? You want to make a mafia movie without using the word mafia. And I'm like, okay, so he doesn't know that Francis Ford Coppola is making this, and that dude's fucking weird. And he's like, so he's like, how many times is mafia in the script? I think one time.
One time?
It's
Did
out.
the FBI say it?
Like that, it was, that was no fight.
Everything
Out of all
he
the other things
concedes
that
to
could
them.
be a fight in this movie, the mob stuff that he has to change for the mob is no problem.
He and later on he does it again with the Sinatra stuff, and those are already cut. Like all those scenes are already cut.
He makes it.
Everything
he makes
he
him
promises
feel like
them,
he's making a big, like he's helping them out a big deal, and it's really stuff that's already happened.
Those machinations are what make the show so fun. On top of it, and then watching this cast do it is just a joy. It's like watching a stunt cast Agatha Christie or something.
Yeah, so I was going to mention the guy playing young Pacino.
Oh God,
that guy is known for Pixels and Fool's Day, and like he like this is his coming out party, and man, is he good.
No,
dude,
he's killing it.
What a metaphoric like role he's playing. Then like that's
there's only one scene. There's only one episode with him so far, I think. But the guy they've got playing Brando,
Justin Chambers. I was just looking at that too.
He is not who I would think could.
No,
I mean
he's from watch a headshot and you go, that's not Marlon Brando. You watch.
No,
him
this is a true casting agent here.
When you watch for 5 seconds in the scene, you're like, holy fuck.
Well, and the way they do that scene, man.
That guy has been on Grey's Anatomy for 15 years.
Yeah. Fanny recognized him and it was like, holy God, is that so-and-so from Grey's Anatomy? I'm like, I think it is.
And you know what's funny is as we talk about this, I realized I never looked up to see who was playing Pacino and who was playing Brando because they felt like Pacino and Brando. Well, like they had time traveled back and grabbed them.
It's so tastefully done in service of the cinematography of this show is a whole league better than it actually I feel like needs to be. For
they
could have got away with it.
They're riffing off of Coppola. They're riffing off of the Godfather.
They're riffing off the look of the movie, and they're actually getting it done. It's got that same feeling that early season that Hannibal had for me of like, is this on real TV?
Holy
God,
for sure, yeah.
But the way they do the the Brando reveal of him transforming himself with the shoe polish was absolutely chilling.
This show does what some of my favorite movies do, like One Cut of the Dead or things that are about making TV or movies. It sells the magic of movie making.
Yeah.
3 or 4 people give speeches about what made them get into this business or how they see movie making, and I got tingles in the back of my neck of like, holy fuck.
Somebody the casting agent looks over at Ruddy at one point and is like, you're not crazy. Like, yeah, it is dumb to give this much of a shit about this, but we all do. You're in the right town.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to Hollywood.
Only you and I are going to get this. Anyone else is just a civilian.
Yeah. And also, at the same time that it gets the magic of it, it gets the chaos of it. The same thing I love whenever I watch How Did This Get, or not How Did This Made, but the movies that made us. There's always this feeling whenever you watch any of those that, holy shit, how do any movies ever get made? And this is The Godfather, one of the best movies ever made.
Yes.
And we're watching it, and it almost falls apart 7 times every episode.
So many times.
It was basically a goddamn miracle.
Yeah.
Half the time, one mistake cancels out the other mistake.
Even the movie, I think even the movies that made up with RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven would watch this and go, "I'm sorry, I complained so much. Sorry."
Right. I mean, Al Ruddy. Of course, this is based on his book, so it's going to be skewed toward him. But he looks like a goddamn superhero the way he pulls all this off.
Yeah. Well, he just keeps being this obstinate dick.
Well, I like that how half of it is him really working, and then half of it is him taking credit for stuff that's already happened.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, several things go horribly wrong. When I love when the mob just stops production, like the occasions when they really flex, and and people are like, "What do you mean? Are these guys seriously going to mess up?" Like, yeah, man, yeah, we're not going to get anything done today. They just pull that truck up and park it right in front of the camera.
Yeah,
with like a big out of period modern sticker on the side.
Well, also their version of Help isn't much better.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard you had trouble with that location. Well, here's the guy.
Oh man,
Oh,
that
man.
was fucking dark. Oh, yeah. It's great.
But you notice how his whole relationship fell apart because he didn't tell his wife about things that were happening that would scare him.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
soon as that happens, he goes back to Juno Temple and tells her immediately of like,
Yes.
I just saw some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
like,
the shittiest he is to her, he seems to be realizing it in that relationship.
Like, I'm not sure if they're going for like a romantic thing between those two, but just their
I
solid
think it's
friendship of
professional
like,
respect. Yeah.
I've got your back, you got mine. Like,
Yeah, I deliberately didn't look it up. I don't want to know if
No.
that's where that's going or anything. But
I hope it's just professional respect.
you know
I
what's
dig
what's
them.
interesting is that I thought it was a 6-episode miniseries and it wasn't until Les started saying, "Oh,
no,
it's
we
10.
got four left
Like,
of these.
I thought we were done because it's such a great. I mean, it is a finale. I mean,
we
it's
got
a
4
movie, and
episodes left of this fucking chaos.
I love it. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, this ranks so much higher on my best TV than I thought it was going to. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, when Hollywood makes, or when I should say, when producers make a movie about producers and
Mhm.
like making movies,
Yeah.
there's a real chance of like getting up its own ass about Hollywood and how magical it
And
is.
That's what I was worried about because that does happen. There's nothing Hollywood finds more interesting than itself.
But this
Yeah.
is about almost like it's 90% realism of how fucked up it is and how hard it is, but that last 10% is why all these crazy people do it, and it's
Mhm.
that 10% of that it's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, for
couldn't
sure.
do anything. I won't go back to work for whatever defense contractor I was working for or
Right.
programming.
Right.
I'm doing this until I die.
And
Yeah.
Bob Evans is a great character to have, even as a background in your show. There's a documentary, Kid Stays in the Picture. He
Mhm.
is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
When this is taking place is about 10 years away from him getting banished from Paramount for another decade. I believe he think he did jail time, or at least got convicted of
Yeah.
a huge cocaine smuggling thing, and I think a murder for hire.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob Evans is fucking nuts.
He's
Yeah.
nuts. He eventually did return to Paramount. It's crazy.
Coppola starts off on this show in what they call director jail.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
This started off as a thing Coppola was doing for money. Like that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm digging it.
Yeah. Same.
What are these people running from? They're not. They're running to the world's toughest competition in town. Today, a team of organ donors and recipients will go head to spleen against a team of 12-step recovering addicts. It's drunks, dopers, and donors. So get fired up for Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. Now, here are two men that know a lot about each other's organs, Kenny Blankenship and Vic Romano.
All right, let's jump over and talk about season 2 of Undone, which the history of this one is interesting because I think you and I both saw this at ATX Fest. We saw the pilot, or maybe we saw the pilot at ATX Fest, right? Did you see that then?
You did. I didn't get to go to that.
Okay.
Weirdly, I went to Comic-Con the next year, and I didn't. I ended up talking to Rose Salazar for a little while, but not really as an interview. We just ended up the last couple of people in a room, and Comic-Con, I met there's a lot of celebs. Like, I got to meet Ted Danson and a lot of fucking people. Not everybody has that, holy shit, you should be famous, are you a movie star vibe. Rose Salazar has that.
I watched,
like,
I'll tell you what, I
she
didn't
is
watch the
fucking
show until
magic.
like yesterday. I don't know why she's not a bigger star.
I don't,
Yeah,
and the animation style of, so like they were discussing Undone when we were there at Comic-Con,
Yeah.
but I didn't get to see the pilot with you at ATX Fest. You had just seen it and talked about it. But when we saw the animation style, I remember we both kind of had the same reaction to the first episode.
Right.
Of
which
why
is
is
why
this
you're
animated?
doing this? Why are you animating
And
this?
then it starts to get trippy.
Yeah.
But going into season 2, the thing I'm most blown away by is why isn't this animation style used more? I love it.
Yeah.
It looks like 90s Vertigo comics to me. It looks like Books of Magic, Neil Gaiman
Yeah,
stuff to me.
for sure.
John Bolton or whoever the fuck painted those.
Oh man, could you imagine if the Sandman show looked like this?
Right?
Oh, that'd be great.
But also the way that the pastel shading looking stuff catches all of her vibe, like all of her
Yeah.
face. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
The motion interaction, like the weird facial expressions, it catches all of it. It actually better than fucking Battle Alita, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I like somehow this doesn't put me in an uncanny valley, but it comes off so realistic my brain almost buys it. It's great. It's great.
What's interesting is she reminds me of sort of everybody in this cast reminds me of somebody. Rosa Salazar reminds me of Aubrey Plaza. Angelique Cabral, I don't know who she reminds me of, but she like her mom, Constance Marie, like all these characters remind me of someone. And then in the middle of it, you got Bob Odenkirk, who is Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
But everybody else in the show is like reminds me of someone else.
So the first season, which Nick, I know you kind of binge caught up on. I loved it, but I was really teetering on the edge of like, okay, are y'all gonna finish this with proof that the magic's real, or are you gonna stick with like, well, it might be all in her head,
right?
And they end with the light out of the cave, and I finished season 1 going, holy shit, I think it's all fucking real. I think it's all real.
Yeah,
and I was so happy that season 2 starts with, yes, she really is moving through time.
Dude,
yes,
it
is
real.
Really fucking
she
real.
Fucking altered reality.
Yeah,
yes.
it's way trippier in the second season. It's
way,
lots.
Yes, it feels very Russian
but you
doll.
know what they
like
do
all of this is happening.
To bring it back down to make it simple and basics is they give the sister the power.
Well, and they short her power in the new timeline, which I thought was smart. I actually this makes more sense to me than Russian doll, and I end up kind of it gets the same itch, and I dig it more.
It means that the powers don't have to expand, so that we can do the similar thing of just going through stories, so that this and teaching the sister like is so that we do the same thing to teaching the sister again. We're doing although I do love that her immediate thing of just right after changing the fucking reality to making her dad, like her first initial instinct, like, well, let me go change some more stuff.
Yeah.
And I love Bob Odenkirk's like, stop.
Well, don't do that.
Stop. Don't do any of this.
I also think that one of the issues with Russian Doll season 2 had is that it felt like I don't know that we need this story. Like, I feel like her story's told. And this, on the other hand, I'm like, oh no, there's a bunch of shit around her mom. Like, it makes sense that she would want to deal with this.
Yeah, now that you got the big piece of dad back, there's still other stuff.
This okay, so if the dad were to have stuck around, what would have happened? And like, there was a thing in their relationship that was predated the whole Halloween thing. That now gets to fully bear out because of it does what a great story does is like, hey, this happened because this happened, not just this happens and then this happened. This happens, and now because of that, we can do this.
Yeah.
It's like this does something that honestly, I would swear to you that we have seen every iteration of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And this actually did something new with that setup. Like, okay, you changed the past, and you got your dad back. You don't like some of the other changes. But can you like, you don't know Sam anymore, really.
Yeah.
But like, but can you live with it? But like, I like the understanding of like, it's not the end of the world. Like, oh my God, I didn't get everything perfect. Like, okay, this is probably the best 90% I can do.
Most time travel stories either end right after the change happens or end in like, you can't change anything. But I like the idea if you can change stuff, how much change are you willing to accept?
When do you stop? Yeah.
Where do you stop? That's
what's funny?
That's an interesting question.
You know who's did it before? Simpsons.
Yes, exactly.
In the episode with Homer in the donut rain place.
Yes.
Where he goes in and it's just the one thing where he's like, everything seems perfect. He's rich. His sister-in-law is
It's the right
dead.
family.
It's the right family.
It rains donuts.
But he doesn't know it rains donuts. And so he says, pass me a donut. And they've never heard of it.
Yes.
And then he freaks out and runs. And then you see it start raining donuts. And it's like, oh, you were in the perfect universe, you just didn't know it. And that's what this is. It's you're never going to know if you're in the perfect universe because something's always not going to feel perfect.
Because the one he finally settles for has donuts in the family, but they eat like flies.
Lizard tongues. Yeah,
lizard tongues. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like I feel like she has to learn like, okay, some things are not don't need a quantum physics lesson in order to fix. Some things are just relationship issues that you have to talk to other people about and work through.
I love that. Yeah, they use time travel to fix a family trauma thing in the first season, and then this season the time travel shorts out, and so they have to do it. The dad wants to do it old school, like I'm just going to go research your grandmother, like a normal person. But they're like, well, I don't need to time travel. We can memory travel. Like we can dream walk basically, and like pulling the sister through that, and the emotional toll it takes on the sister's just really cool.
I was going to say one of the things I found really interesting in this, because it is sort of an animated and it can be a little unreal. I was very drawn into the trauma of this, like the poor kid, their brother, the shit that he goes through, and what her mom goes through, and all that stuff. That was like you can't ever fix. Like, you need time travel to fix that, because that level of trauma is impossible to fix.
Yeah.
And
yeah, some of you have said some
heartbreaking.
stuff to one another at the
Yeah.
wrong moment that really stuck.
There are things, and we've all had stuff like that in our life where it's like, fuck, without time travel, I really literally can't fix this. And
Yeah,
they
there's-
actually
there's-
can.
There's moments you can't take back, which
Yeah.
I suppose that was in the first season too, where like she yelled that thing at the wedding and turned back
Yeah.
time. Like, oh well, like if you could just take back something you said,
Yeah.
like what how would that change reality?
That said, all of that said, which is to say that I really like this. I do feel like Prime, there's something at Prime in every show that they make, I think, even the ones I like, where I'm like, this needs, the pacing's off, or there's one episode or some segment of every episode where I'm bored. And I definitely felt that at times in this, where I felt like they were belaboring a point. Like her mom in the mental institution, I was like, I get this. You can move on. Keep telling me my story, because I'm done with this part.
Yeah, I feel like their pacing is just always somehow a little off.
I feel like it's better for this type, since it's more head trippy and arty anyway. I feel like
Yeah.
it fits more with this, but I do get what
Mhm.
you're saying of like all their shows feel like loosey goosey pacing wise.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't have any inside baseball on this, but I feel like because it's always Prime, there's some executive who doesn't understand pacing of television and is always meddling with it.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like
'Cause
this is slow, and like Invincible is
Well-
unbelievably too fast, and
Yeah.
And
like-
upload is all over the place. Like
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
simultaneously like
upload
you
is slow until
were slow, and then-
the 2 episodes that matter, and then everything happens.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not just that it's slow. It's that the pacing is all weird and fucked.
It's
Like,
inconsistent.
always. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although I do love that the quick reveal of like, oh well, yeah, you're on, like, oh well, I did sell cocaine one time. Like, what?
Oh God, heard them out at the club with their aunt when she reveals that. That is
Yes,
hilarious.
that
How do you
was
say it
great.
in English? Cocaine.
Cocaine? Fuck. What? It was the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
That's
everyone
it.
was
So-
selling cocaine? I know everyone was doing it, but
I finished watching Made for Love, which had an amazing, I've never seen it before in sci-fi, your alternate self takes over your body and helps your dad euthanize himself. I don't think I've ever fucking seen that before. That was some holy fuck shit, like, and also a real gut punch of like dead dad storyline.
yeah.
Then I watched Undone season 2, and I did not expect the reunion with her dad to be the hardest punch in the chest I think I've taken from a TV show.
Yeah, I get
Like
that.
worse than Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Like something's wrong with the audio of this program. It's making a loud sobbing noise in my living room, starting from about this
well,
point.
the way he doesn't acknowledge it at first, and then you can tell he's been waiting for
like
this.
your mind, your yeah. It's it and the we've got so much life. Like, it just absolutely killed me. Like I had to I think I stopped the show with like fuck you.
Well, I also
And,
get his fear of not wanting to use his powers, because he saw what an asshole like
Yeah.
it made him,
Yeah.
and he's like, no, I can't.
I don't want to open the door to that guy.
Like he feels like a
I-
drug addict. Like I can't just time travel a little.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this week. Couple good shows, to be honest. The stuff we didn't talk about a lot, but the shows we really liked.
hmm
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, dudes.
You can go over to our Patreon and patreon.com/tvdudes and listen to us talk about movies. Sometimes Nicolas Cage, sometimes not. Sometimes they're cartoon chipmunks. And until next week.
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.